Do we need more coffee? Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in this group that we love so much. We love everybody, and like Antulio said, we are partners. So it's a good opportunity to start the day like this, and then after that we go enjoy our Sunday because it's beautiful outside. It's like perfect weather. So today we're going to talk about the Spirit's book. I have like a show and tell. I have two versions in English, in Portuguese. This is from the 80s, 1980s, so it's that old, but the cover cannot be beat. So we have here, we start with this beautiful image of the Spirit's book in many translations. Nobody really knows how many translations this book was translated. So the person who would know that will be here in June the 3rd. He doesn't know because he's in charge of all the work in Federação Espírita Brasileira. Even he doesn't know. So the Spirit's book is translated in many languages. So here is the logo of this group here. So today we're gonna be learning together. And I want to start with this beautiful quote from this book. Love one another. That is the first teaching. Educate yourselves. That is the second. This is in the Gospel by Allan Kardec. So it's like the most important quote in Spiritism. Love and knowledge. So this book provides this understanding. So this book is the ground zero of Spiritism, so like day one. That's the first thing that happened in Spiritism. It's called The Backbone of Spiritism by Divaldo Franco, and it's the book that has freed the human spirit. Jesus said, search for the truth, and the truth will set you free. So this book brought a lot of understanding that we are free. We are free spirits. We have free will, and it points the direction. So we're going to start with 4 questions that will be answered during this hour. Why is this book so important? Why do we want to read it? What does it contain that is worth reading it? So this is the first set of questions. How could Allan Kardec, a skeptic, logical scientist, so committed to science, accept such a mission, become such a strong believer in God, leave such a meaningful spiritual legacy for humanity? Because Allan Kardec was a scientist. He was not interested in issues in subjects that he could not prove scientifically. So how come he became a believer? What is that important legacy that we mentioned the slide before? What message has this book left for humanity? And lastly, what can it do for me? How can I benefit from it? How can it help me? So the Spirit's book is such a wonderful work, but what about me when I cannot pay my bills, when my kid is sick and I have to struggle between going to work and staying with my kid, when I have problems at home in my family, when I have financial problems at work? So how can I get this help from this book? Spiritism started with this very book. So we talked about Allan Kardec in the previous talk. So now we're going to focus in how he started this. This book is the core of Spiritism. It's written, thank you, in a Q&A format. So actually you can go straight to a question and you can read in pieces. And you can go to a chapter or a set of questions about a subject. It's not like a continuous test. So it's a very attractive format, Q&A. It's the first Q&A book in this subject that we know. It's 1,019 questions by Allan Kardec. He posed the questions to enlightened spirits through mediums. So this is a work of mediumship. He asks directly to the spirits through the mediums. It includes teachings about science, philosophy, and religion, faith. It explains the nature and immortality of spirits, relations between the two worlds, which is the main focus of Spiritism, and is a revelation from the spiritual world. Some messages are assigned by spirits that known in very top level, high level, in spiritual level. John the Evangelist, Saint Augustine, Saint Vincent of Paul, Saint Louis, Socrates, Plato, Fenelon, Emmanuel, Benjamin Franklin, and many others. And this group was put together by the leader being the Spirit of Truth. It's the highest level of spiritual importance of all. We're going to go over this. So the authors, in the beginning of this book, they talk about why they dictated this book. So allow me to read this. In the session called Prolegomena, which is like an introduction, they said, this work is ours. That's why the name is Spiritism, because it comes from the spirits. It is destined to unite all humanity in a common sense of love and charity. We will be with you whenever you request our presence and to assist you in all your endeavors. This is only part of the mission. Those are the authors talking to Allan Kardec, and then Allan Kardec quoted, this book was written under the dictation of superior spirits. They informed they lived on earth where they preached and practiced the virtue and wisdom. Their elevation is undeniable in the integrity of their concepts and their union with the spirits of well-respected figures in history. So this is a revelation of who is the author of this work in both sides. So this is the collection of books called the Pentateuch, which is the basis of Spiritism. And this book, the Spirit's book, originated all others. So this one was written in 1857. The second one, the Medium's book, that is a reference of mediumship. The Gospel, which is focused on faith. Heaven and Hell, which is a collection of spirits bringing their experience after death, and the Genesis, which is a wonderful book about science, the creation of the world and creation of us. So this is the Pentateuch. The first edition of this book in April 18, 1857 had 501 questions signed by Allan Kardec. He published this book with his own resources because he didn't want to put anybody in a position to, considering his background, say, no, we don't know. So he went ahead and he used his own money to publish this book. 1,200 copies were immediately sold out on the first day. This is Palais Royal in Paris, is still there, and he was inside the store when they launched this. And then after that, there were 15 reprints with him alive. So this is the cover. This is very well divided, logically and rationally divided in 4 main parts. Book 1, it's about God and the universe. Book 2, the spirit world. 3, divine laws. 4, hopes and consolation. So it's very logically divided, and we can go and understand past, present, and future in this logic. Because God and the universe is the creation, and then the spirit world, which is a communication between what is really the spiritual world. The divine laws is what we use as a blueprint for our lives. We feel happy when we are aligned with the divine laws, the laws by God. And when we detach from the divine laws, that's when suffering comes. And suffering is explained in the book 4, Hopes and Consolations for Suffering. So let's go over a little bit more in detail in book 1, God and the Universe. They talk about proofs of existence of God. Beginning of things, universal space, formation and multitude of planets, creation of living beings and life and death. So this is very well structured in questions and answers about this subject. For example, a question in this group would be 55. Are all other planets in space inhabited? So at night we look and we see, yesterday we saw a big one, the stars, what is this? What about other planets? We keep looking for life as we know it in other planets and we don't see it, but are they inhabited? So it answers yes. And the people of the earth are far from being, as you suppose, the leaders in intelligence, goodness, and perfection. Many people believe that only earth is inhabited by intelligent beings, and that God has created the universe only for them. It is a presumption's idea. So we think we are the center of the universe, actually. We do. But he explains that probably this is not true. So those questions explain about life in other planets. It's very nice. And then book 2, The Spirit World, talks about spirits, the origin and nature, hierarchy and levels, reincarnation, union, spirit body, purpose, children after death, sex and gender of spirits, relationships, family, spiritual family, affinity, antipathies, choice of trials, forgetfulness of the past, and presentiments. So, origin, that's very hard to understand, how we were created. Where I incarnated before this? Was it on Earth, other planets? So it's very hard to understand, but we get all this information very well explained. We still have questions after that, but it gives us a direction. What about reincarnation? What is this, a temporary experience? Why am I here? Where am I going? So it goes into details. What about children? Why some children live 2 years and go back? Why somebody full of life at 32 has a heart attack in an airplane, and then people say, oh, but it was too early. That was their life. That was planned for this journey. But it's hard for us to understand, and we get really sad because we have this view, this vision of the experience here. But this is when we travel for work. We have a purpose. We go to Europe to do some kind of work, and then we come back home. That's what the reincarnation is. So he explains really well. So he talks about family. Why sometimes we meet somebody and we already love this person in minute 1. Oh, that's actually a reunion. And then sometimes we meet somebody that even sometimes the person has a lot in common with us, but I don't know. So it talks about harmony, affinities, identification of spirits. Do I choose my trials? Are you trying to say that I chose to pass to this challenge that I'm facing right now? How come? But I don't remember. I don't remember anything. How can I believe in reincarnation if I don't remember anything? So it explains that actually this is a gift. We wouldn't be able to do what we have to do if we remember that our brother in our last life, oh my goodness, we don't know I don't want to remember what he did with me, and now we come in the same family, sharing parents, sharing a home. So it's better if we don't remember, and this is a gift, but it is just a temporary veil. When we go back, depending on our level, we're going to remember everything. But for now, it's better if we don't search for this truth, because we are not prepared. That's why God gave us this gift. Some people want to know the future and the past right now. It's of our interest to focus in this life. And then when it's time, we're going to remember everything about what we planned for our future and what we have done in the past. So a question in this group, an example would be, what is the purpose of reincarnation? Purification and the constant progress of humankind. Otherwise, there will be no justice. So purification, a process of refinement. Imagine like a diamond that comes in a stone, and then with work, this will be revealing itself as a diamond. We are beautiful diamonds, beautiful diamonds. But in the beginning, we are just like a black rock. And this refinement, each step of this refinement is an incarnation. So right now, we are in this format. But maybe I was born my last life in Siberia, like a lady from the countryside, or a man, and then I had a couple of experiences, learning, and then went back, reevaluated, replanned, and now I'm here. And then who knows in the future? So other two examples, questions 204 and 205, family relationships. Do our relationships extend beyond our present existence, since we have had many lives? Of course, the succession of incarnations establishes relationships among spirits that date back from previous lives. They explain empathy or dislikes in the first sight. That's what I said before. My grandmother was the person in my life that was the most dear to me. And I'm sure wherever she is with me at all times. And maybe we were together, who knows, many incarnations before that. Even my name is after her. So we had this affinity. And love is never lost. Love is forever. Believe this. Because what we feel, as far as love, will stay forever. And it goes beyond lives. It goes beyond even planets. We have many books that describe sometimes many reincarnations of a family. 392, why can't the incarnate spirit remember its past? I already gave a spoiler. Without the veil that hides certain things from you, you would be dazzled. If God is love, this is for your protection, because God gave you this gift. It would be painful. We may not like what we see. It may not help us. We would not be ready to know. So sometimes we dare to do something, but we have to face the risks and the consequences. So why look for this truth when we are not ready for this? It's better if we move forward using the gospel as our manual, and then when it's time, when we are ready, when we are in a position to know, we will know. So forgetfulness of the past is for our own good. As we progress, the more we progress, the more we will remember. So they go in different directions. A person that is in the beginning of the evolution will not remember anything, because there is a lot not too good to remember. And as we go conquering spiritual progress, we will remember more. So at some point, we will be only love, and then we will have a beautiful view of our journey. And then we will be proud of our choices, decisions. Book 3, Divine and Natural or Moral Laws. Those are God's laws. This is the core of this book. eternal laws that govern the whole universe, God's laws. This is the core of the Spirit's book, and it has a philosophical content, map to happiness. This is like a house blueprint. When you build a house, you have the blueprint, you know everything, you have a snapshot of everything about the house. The God's laws is the blueprint of our journey. If we follow these really closely, we will evolve and reach our final destination. But while we are debating for alignment, we will suffer and then be invited back for alignment. Let's put it this way. Our problems are not, oh, I have this problem and I'm suffering. Our problems are actually a message inviting us for realignment. One day we will see like that. Today we are struggle, but one day we will see them as beautiful stones pointing the right path. And those are not my words. Those are Chico Xavier's words. So one day we'll be in a position to see and even thank for our problems, not seeing them as problems, but invitations for realignment. 6:14, what is a natural law? So one law, God's law. It ensures the happiness of human beings. It shows them what they should or should not do, and that they only suffer when they deviate from it. So taking somebody's life goes against God's law, preservation of life. God created the life, and then if we take somebody's life, we are going against it. So it's just an example. And then the spirit that committed this will suffer because it goes against God's laws. Just an example. So those are the divine laws in this category divided in this book. Law of worship, prayers. Law of work, meaningful, productive life. How to have a meaningful, productive life. Law of reproduction, that's to explain Earth population. Law of preservation, the importance of self-preservation and preservation of life. Law of destruction, natural calamities are an example of the law of destruction. They need to transform. We see as destruction, but actually it's a transformation. Social law, family ties, explains family ties. Law of progress, contribution of Spiritism to civilization. It explains the civilization. Law of equality, social equalities, rich and poor. This law explains why there are so many hard differences in the world. It's actually very interesting. Law of liberty, we have free will to choose whatever we want to do. But there are some things that we do that are not for our happiness. It delays our happiness. But we are free. There are some religions that limit the individual. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. Spiritism tells you, you are free and responsible for your decisions. So there are some things that we study that are not going to help us, but I still can do it. Law of justice, love and compassion. Love, 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 and also love. Explains the importance of having a life full of love. And lastly, ethical perfection. It explains what a good person is, and it focuses in self-knowledge, autoconhecimento. So 984, also 393. Why do we suffer? That's a $1 million question. And we have to define suffer, because I see people that are right now facing some moments of that for me would be big suffering. But I talk to them, they say, oh, Fernandinha, everything is fine. I understand, I accept, I will get there. So it may be suffering for me, but depending on the spirit, they embrace this moment as a moment of learning. It's beautiful. Result of not fulfillment of divine laws by our spirit in this or in previous lives. It's not a punishment. It's a consequence, education. Example, there is the gravity law. If I release this, it go to the floor. Even if I don't believe in the gravity law, this will go to the floor. So it's up to me. If I want to believe or not, the world is not going to change because I don't believe in gravity law. So it's the same. We suffer when we are not in sync with God. The laws will continue the same. It's just me that take more or less time for this realignment. Last one, hopes and consolations. That's my favorite one. It's beautiful because it explains really in depth about what we call suffering and what is waiting for us in the future. Ready to embrace me. A beautiful future for all of us. If I tell you that one day each one of us here, will be responsible for a planet. I know. It sounds like a joke. Me? Yes, but Jesus, which is now responsible for this world, already went through this journey. He knows the path, and that's why he's conducting us. So trust me, one day we will be we see so many lights. Like the Spirit's book, nobody knows how many. We don't know how many lights. There is place for everybody. Oh, sorry. Happiness, unhappiness, fear, loss of loved ones, that's hard. That's hard. Suicide, that's hard. Ungratefulness, very hard. Incompatible marriages, that's hard. Life after life, unknown. But we can get a lot in the Pentateuch and especially in this book. So example, I said past, present, and future. So examples of questions from the past. Formation of planets, question 56. Creation of spirits, question 43. Past lives, here is me as a queen. My past life. Nobody cleaned the window. No, everybody was a queen. Everybody was a king. Emperor, special, yes. So here, talk about 392 past lives. Present, that's hard. How can we be happy, truly happy, if we see this? Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We need to search for this truth. We need to search for this comfort. It will heal us. It will heal. This is day one of us in our start road of healing. Wealth and poverty, 806. Multitude of worlds, 55. Family ties, 203. There is a lot to talk about in family ties. Because we come to the family we need. Oh, are you trying to say that my brother-in-law, I have known him in the past? Yes, for good or bad. Everybody in this family has a reason to be there. And we have a big reason to be in this very family right now. Future, look at us. Beautiful, look at us. Soulmates. Is there such a thing as soulmates? Do I need somebody to complete me, to be happy as an individual, as a spirit? Future life, 958, 982. Eternal life. Oh, that's nice. But do I really need somebody? Do I really need anybody to complete me? 149. So we're going to get busy with this book. Are you ready? Yes. So also talks about choice of trials, abortion, divorce, war, action and reaction, world peace, free will, empathy, inner transformation, materialism, many. This book has a lot. We are not going to be able to process it. Read again, reevaluate, and try to practice in one lifetime at all. Actually, probably this is like not the first round that we are in this. And I applaud you to be here on a Sunday morning doing this instead of going to Galveston, being in the pool, or sleeping late. Because we have to do this. We have to understand this, so we will take advantage of life, this opportunity, for us on our way to our final destination. So let's go back to the questions, okay? Set 1. Why is this book so important? Why do we want to read it? What does it contain that's worth reading? So now we see these questions in a different perspective, because we had a grasp of the content. So now we see these questions that, maybe this is going to help me in a situation that I have right now. First of all, we are not alone here. This is not everything. We are here right now with this view, but we come from a place that we are going to go back to this very place, to this very format, dimension. I am from Rio de Janeiro, and in Rio there is Cemitério São João Batista, which is a cemetery. And then at the door, the gate, there is Revertério ao Locum. It means, now you go back to where you came from. It's Latin. And then I would go to my school and always pass in front of this cemetery, look at this. And then one day my teacher, Portuguese teacher, said, Revertério ao Locum. Oh my God, he's talking about what I see in the cemetery. And then in Latin, he was explaining that you go back to where you come from. That's very, very true. This is here, we come and we go back. And we come with a purpose, like a travel for business, like I said before. So this is not it. Second, Spiritism did not invent death, mediumship, or reincarnation. But Allan Kardec compiled, organized, and explained. We didn't know before. And when I say we, it's truly us. We didn't know. But then, because of his work, his focus, his commitment, his dedication, now we can understand better. Reincarnation is an opportunity for forgiveness. And yes, there is a future life for us. Even though we cannot see now, somebody may be struggling day by day, and one day is already a struggle, but there is future. There is future. So Spiritism is a science, religion, and philosophy based on the books of Allan Kardec. Spirit's book is a foundation of this. Question number 2, group of questions. How could Allan Kardec, a skeptic, logical scientist, so committed to science, accepted such a mission, become such a strong believer in God, leave such a meaningful and spiritual legacy for humanity? He was busy with other things. He had a lot to catch up. He already invested in an institute, and then he lost all the money. He was busy. We already covered this in the last talk, but he dedicated, at some point, he dedicated all his life, resources, time, everything for this. So he actually left this, but he changed it. But how did he change it? He doesn't encourage us to have a blind faith. He didn't do that. He was not a believer in blind faith. So that's why he wanted to make sure that this was really something worth to investigate instead to leave the things that he was going to do this. So he doesn't encourage blind faith. He encouraged us to understand why we believe. That's Allan Kardec. Very logical, common sense. He was a person of reason, common sense, logic, methodic, and rational. So first, he wanted to make sure that this was something important, proved for him to investigate and dedicate his life. He had focus, discipline, organization, and he carefully investigated, compared all the answers. He would get these questions, send to different mediums, get the answer, same questions, get all the answers, compare the answers that were consistent, he published. So he didn't accept one truth without really knowing that it was really a truth. Until he had evidence, he needed to be sure he really did not consider doing his work. His most famous quote is, "Unshakable faith is only that which can meet reason face to face in every human epoch." So he would not believe in something, God works in mysterious ways. Oh, there is a lot to be proved. No, he wanted to prove that was truth, like with this work of comparing the answers, to assume that it was true. And he would think it's preferable to reject 10 truths than validate a single lie, a single false theory. That's Erasmus in the Medium's book. So Allan Kardec was very careful before putting his name. He had an impeccable, very important reputation before that, so he wanted to make sure this all was really proven before publishing this book. So he would go by this. Be careful with what you assume true. So that's why when he was convinced, he put his name. The most important thing in Spiritism is not the mediumistic phenomena, but rather the principles and moral consequences. This is in the conclusion of this book by St. Augustine. We have temporary bodies. We are eternal spirits. We are eternal spirits in a temporary experience. So some people, they come to the group and day one, they want to go to the mediumistic meeting. Day one. Oh, Fernanda, I want to participate in the mediumistic meeting. So how is this going to comfort and solve the problems in the life? This is not the right path. The right path is the consequences, the principles of reincarnation in my life. So when I am struggling with my problems, I have to understand that this problem will end. And this is what is taking from me is how I handle the problem, how I perceive this challenge, but not this is going to take forever. The problems don't define us. What defines us is how we handle the problems. So question 919, which is probably the most famous one, is the present is certain, while the future is uncertain. So I may not know everything right now, but the future will not change. This is the misconception we are trying to remove from your minds. This is a message from St. Augustine in this book. The misconception that we are trying to remove from your minds, that the present is certain, the future is uncertain. As we demonstrate the future that is reserved for you. This is why, after producing the physical manifestation that appealed mainly to your senses, we now appeal to your reason through these teachings, which you are equally expected to spread the world over. For this reason, we dictated the Spirit's book. So, in the beginning, they created the material phenomena, like the turning tables and calling attention for the objects moving. But this was to explain that there is a world. So when he says, to your senses, like seeing, touching, the phenomenon. So now they wrote the book explaining what is behind that. So now we don't need those phenomena anymore. What we need is to understand the consequences of these. So we started with these manifestations, the turning tables that we covered last time, but this is no longer needed. These generated the books. So now our job is to study the books and try to practice. This is in Harvey in 2017, here in Houston. So the books talk about fraternal love, importance of us to get involved with the community, the world solidarity. So now, what is going to help us really is the actions that come from the books. It's not the phenomena. So going to the mediumistic meeting, day one will not direct us. Now we have Kardec's work. We use them as inspiration and as a direction to do this. This is what is going to help us. Us to get involved with our community, get involved with a charity, being better people, supportive people, help each other, starting me with myself, my family, workplace, probably in the bank, in the traffic, me as an individual of humanity. So we use those books as food for us to do what we have to do. And this is what we have to do. Questions, group 3. What is that important legacy that this book left? What message has this book left for humanity? So imagine I am in the forest, okay? I love being in green. It's beautiful, but sometimes you can get lost if you don't know the path. So I am here enjoying the beautiful green, and then now it's time to go home, and I lost my track. I don't know where to go. So imagine that somebody comes, and they know that I'm lost, and they drops a package for survival. A bag of food that will keep me alive for one day. Then another airplane comes and drops something for maybe a week or 1 month survival. And then somebody else comes and drops a GPS for me to go home. That is Spiritism. All the other airplanes were other works that come, and I'm sorry, I respect all religions, but they give you survival depending on your affinity. What we see is that Spiritism came and told me, you are Fernanda, this is your home, go home. You're not going to survive here, but there is a home that you can go, and this is the path. Those are the books. So we find the path to go home. It's beautiful to be in the forest, but if we don't have shelter, we don't have food, we don't have medication, we don't have a way to survive, we're not going to survive. So we need to find the path home. And Spiritism brings that, the path home. So Spiritism brought me who we are, in this case, an analogy with the forest. Who we are, where we come from, where we are going to, and why we are here, and we see our suffering. So here is me in my house back home in Austin when I came from 2020. Now we have a different home. So I am in the forest, and Spiritism tells me, you are a spirit. You don't know exactly your name, but actually now we can do some DNA test, and they send you a book at home with your DNA information. So the Spiritism told me who I am, where I am going. I am in the forest, go home. So it's like a GPS that gives you everything you need to know for your journey. So Spiritism is the compass that points to the direction of the star. Jesus. It points me to Jesus. My GPS is pointing to Jesus because he came here to show us how to go to God, which is my Creator. So that's the importance. This is the translation of this. Doutrina espírita é a bússola que aponta a direção para a estrela, que é Jesus. So lastly, questions group 4. What can this do for me? How can I benefit and help me? I have this truth. I have palestras, books, but I need to put together in my life, make the link. So I will follow this and get better. I want to be happy. What should I take? In this case, translation. What can I make? Decisions. This is my prescription. This is my prescription. I want to get better. The group will help me. What is going to help me? My decisions. So now, with studying this and this process, step by step, I will make informed decisions. Mature decisions. So now I'm not gonna try to feel happy with things that are superficial and temporary. No, I will make decisions to be happy with deep things and forever. That's the gospel. So this is inspirations for me to make decisions and my actions fulfill my purpose as eternal spirit. If I think I'm just Fernanda, this life, my decisions will be based on this. But if we amplify the view, go deeper, my decisions will be based on that truth. So we had many lives in the past, transition, birth, very happy. My life, death. Why are we unhappy? We are going back home. It doesn't mean that it has to be today. Please, we are not in a rush. No. But, yeah, no rush. We are not late. But it will be a return home. But first, we have to do what we came for. And how do we know? All this is supposed to help us to know ourselves. It's a process of self-knowledge. So, see, there, here, there. So, this question that I mentioned before, probably the most famous one, is the first one to read. What is the most effective method for guaranteeing self-improvement and resisting the attraction of wrongdoing? And then St. Augustine says, know yourself. Self-knowledge is the key for self-transformation. Self-improvement is the key to spiritual progress. So, I will get to know myself. I will get to know God's laws, compare, and what is not aligned, I have to change if I want to be happy. So I have my house that is kind of old, so I need to make an assessment of what needs to be remodeled. A list. Self-knowledge. Fernanda, need to know. I have, sometimes I do this, but this happens, I don't want that. Self-assessment. Self-knowledge brings me the understanding of what needs to be done to have a better future. So we start with this step. We start. 918, characteristics of a virtuous person. I want to be a virtuous person. I want to be. So what does it take? It's a suggestion to question conscience in regard to their actions. So I'm sorry for the translation. O homem de bem. O homem de bem is how to be a virtuous person. I want to live according to my values. Those are my values. I want to live according to them, but it's hard. But I have to start by knowing my values and the values that will bring me to my final destination. We come from God. God is love. God is the creator. God created everything. It's beautiful to see the planets, the sun. Who created that? It's a complicated process. Me, also a complicated process. For me to be here today in this format, I come from a lot before today. And there is a lot after, but I can still change the after. I can reroute, like we do GPS in the car, reroute. I took a wrong path, but I still can find my destination if I go back to the right direction, the right road. So we come from God, which is love. We are here today and we have the two manuals of life to go back to our final destination, love. So love today. This is about how to live love. Oh, but my brother-in-law is too challenging. No, I cannot love him. Yes, if he challenges me, where I was before, that this happens today. We are not saints. We are not perfect. We challenged people. It's like creating a hole. And then we go inside the hole and that need to come up. Hopefully today we are not challenging anyone, creating any hole, so we will not have a big reaction from our actions. So that's what we have control. It's what we do today that affects tomorrow. So happiness is our final destination. Love, happiness. The speed that we get there depends on our efforts. I can take the highway and go faster, but that will take a lot of decisions that I'm not ready to make right now. But I still can take the scenic road and enjoy the beautiful landscape, but that will take longer. Maybe that's what I'm doing right now. But it's up to me. Spiritism explains that we are ready to make decisions when we are. We have free will. We can take the scenic view or the highway. Happy life, folks, is a meaningful life. Let's start today. If we spend the time just watching movies, going to the manicure, going to the pool, the time is all for me. That's great. Maybe we need that sometime. But a happy life is a meaningful life. Is when you do things, meaningful things. For who? For God. But how I'm going to serve God and serve Jesus? Doing things that matter. You will have the answer. What matters? Sometimes I have to dedicate all my time to my family because my family needs me. But sometimes I have more time and I can spare with community work, volunteer work, groups. So only we have the answer. What is a meaningful life for me? But that's the happy life. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. We love shortcuts. Oh, you don't have to have this trouble. Oh, you don't have to do this. Just go do that. Oh, you can save time. Oh, no, you don't need to do this work. We love shortcuts. But sometimes shortcuts, it's only for us to go back and do it again. Think about that. Think about that, because places worth going don't have shortcuts. We need to take the path. So question 490, what does the expression guardian angel mean? The guardian angel is the one that is closest to us, is all dedicated to us, and he or she exists. We all have at least one, and it's all explained in this book, not for me. a spirit guide of high degree. What is the mission of the spirit guide? They stand in relation to you as parents toward their children. They lead the objects of their protection, which is us, into the right road. Aid them with good advice. Console them in their afflictions and keep up their courage as they undergo the trials of earthly life. All our guardian angels are here right now, talking to us. Probably they are taking a break right now. But they talk to us, and when we challenge their inspirations or advice, detach, they get sad because we are detaching for this alignment. But they don't give up. No, this is not a mission that, Fernanda is not listening, I'll just give up. No. They stay until the end. But they are with us always, always. So here is a message for your guardian angel, 495. Will guardian angels sometimes abandon their protégé when they refuse to follow their advice? This is a message from St. Augustine and St. Louis, top-level spirits. God has not given us tasks above our strengths, nor has God abandoned you on earth without friends and support, even though sometimes we feel that. To us, distance is nothing. We can communicate with you from many millions of miles away, from any sphere on which we find ourselves. We possess faculties you cannot even imagine. Every guardian angel has a protégé and watches over them as a parent watches over a child, rejoicing when they follow the right road and mourning when their advice is rejected. Don't be afraid of tiring us with your prayers. On the contrary, always stay in contact with us. You will be stronger and happier. So prayer is our best friend. That's how we communicate. In this trip that I said is a trip for business, we call home, right? Hey, I'm here. Yes, it's hard. Oh, how are the kids? Prayers are calling home. Let's use them. The Spirit's book is the best book we have right now for knowledge. And the Gospel is the book that we should, for our own benefit, read every day a little bit. 15 minutes, half a page. It will create this courage, protection. Day 1, decision making, mindset for change. Today is day 1. Day 2, Gospel at home, prepare and start with our family. Oh, but I live alone. That's fine. You are not alone, and you are your own family. So this is something we do no matter how many people we are at home. If they don't want to do it, we do it. This is all for our own good. Day 3, detox. What is detox? Remove everything in my life that does not help me. It's a spiritual detox. Food, company, places, reading, movies. Day, interrogation mark, we don't know when. Connect, notice, blend with good. Help people, practice what we learn. Opportunities are our obstacles, because what defines us is the effort to overcome them. This will guide you. Day infinite, because it's forever. Feel and experience love and Jesus, and have a strong faith in God. We are not in a rush. We are on our way. We have to finish right now?
How much do you need more time?
Just 3 slides. Our tree tomorrow depends on the seed we plant today. Tomorrow is about today. We have control of today. Then we can reroute tomorrow. So let's work for a better tomorrow. Love one another. This is the first teaching. Educate yourselves. This is the second. That's the most beautiful expression. The most important days in our life are the day we are born and the day we find out why. This is not me, but it's Mark Twain. Maybe the day is today. Maybe today is the day, day one. It will be worth it, because at the end of this journey, look, peace we are hoping for so much. We all need peace. Individually, as a world, we have to search for the light. It's up to us. Nobody's going to do that for us. We have a lot of helpers, support, but this is about us.